Hey, what's up, guys? Richie here. Can I tell you something that I kind of struggle with? If I'm being totally honest, it's something that I really struggle with. I struggle with procrastination. Procrastination is when you know there are things that you should do, but you kind of just put them off until later. I really have a hard time with this in my life because I go through my whole day, and by the end of it, I'm feeling kind of tired. I'm feeling like, man, I just want to be done. I just want to have no more responsibilities. I already worked today. So the dishes that are in the sink, the clothes that need to be folded or washed, the lawn that needs to get mowed, the exercise that I should be doing, all of those things kind of fall to the side. And I feel like, man, I'm just too tired. I just don't want to. And I used to think that this was because of like technology, my phone and Netflix and sports on TV, that these were all the things causing me to be a procrastinator. But then I dug a little bit deeper because I wanted to understand procrastination and hopefully try and figure out how I could not procrastinate so often. And as I was doing my homework, I realized that the earliest account of someone discussing the idea of procrastination is 800 AD. That is way before we had phones, way before we had television. So, what's the deal with procrastination? As I was doing this homework, I realized procrastination is really a biology issue. You see, we have two systems in our brain that fight against each other. We have the limbic system. The limbic system is all about let's avoid doing stuff that's not fun. Let's avoid doing stuff that's unpleasant or hard to do. And then you have the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that makes decisions and helps you make good decisions, helps you choose the right thing. These two things can oppose each other because sometimes the right choice is to do the dishes or your laundry or your homework or that school project. And your limbic system says, don't do that. That sounds boring. That sounds really lame. Do something fun like scroll on Instagram or watch your favorite movie again or watch another episode of The Office. Just relax, just chill out and avoid the unpleasant thing. The crazy thing is, all of the technology that we have, all of the modern living that we do has actually made our limbic system stronger. So our limbic system has more power or more ability to convince us than our prefrontal cortex does. So what happens is when we encounter difficult situations, unpleasant situations, things that don't feel good to us, our limbic system shouts so loudly, just avoid it. Don't deal with it. I want so badly to live in the way of Jesus, and I realize that my procrastination stops me from living in the way of Jesus. In Ephesians chapter 5, Paul talks about this idea of being an imitator of Christ. That is, we should treat Jesus like he's our rabbi, like he's our teacher, and we should try and live in the way that he lived. And Paul tells us that Jesus lived in righteousness and he produced fruit. He had actions in his life that were righteous and good, holy, set apart for God, and that we should avoid actions that are dark or evil. We should avoid greed, immorality. Then Paul goes on to say this in Ephesians 5:15 and 16. Pay careful attention then to how you live, not as unwise people, but as wise, making the most of the time because the days are evil. Wow. That's kind of a big deal to me because when I read that passage, what I realize is this: I need to pay careful attention to the biology that's happening in my life, to how I live, to the way that I walk through my day. Am I living in the way of Jesus, or am I living in the way that just feels good in the moment? The way of Jesus is to make the most of your time. The way of Jesus is not procrastination, but is instead to commit yourself wholly to the work that God has set before you. So the next time that I think about those dishes in the sink, instead of thinking, oh, I can just do that tomorrow, let me watch something on TV, I need to think to myself, God has given me this home. God has given me these dishes. God has given me this food to eat. Let me do these dishes to the glory of God. Let me do these dishes to thank God that he's given them to me. The next time there's a load of laundry to do, I can do the same thing. Or the next time there's homework, thank God I live somewhere where I get to be educated, where I get to go to school. I'm going to do this homework as a thank you to God that he has allowed me to live in such a place. I need to work on this. Procrastination is not the way of Jesus, and I need to be careful about the way that I walk, and I need to redeem the time. I need to buy back the time. I need to make the time meaningful for the work of God that is set before me by the power of the Holy Spirit.